Starting an MMO can often be a confusing and overwhelming experience, whether you don't know what certain items are or where to find them, or where to find specific items for quests. Maybe you're trying to figure out where to make money. Don't worry, because in today's guide, I'm going to go ahead and cover the best websites that you can use to solve these problems. My name's Shino, and these are the best tools we have for BDO. But before we jump into today's video, I would like to say thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for the amount of support that you guys have shown my content, whether it's suggesting other things that you guys would like to see, or liking the video, sharing it with your friends, or especially telling me that this video has helped you in some way, shape, or form. It truly means the world to me, and it's because of that continued support that we were able to achieve something that I didn't think was possible. And it's with that continued support that we were able to achieve content creator. And honestly, guys, thank you. I didn't think that it would be something I would be able to do, but it's because of you guys that we made it happen. So again, thank you. Now let's jump into today's guide. Okay, so the first site that we're going to be touching on today is going to be Garmmoth.com. Now, Garmmoth.com has a lot of things that we can do on it, but first I do want to make sure that you guys have your correct region selected. Now, with this, it's not the region where you're located, it's the region that you're currently playing on. So whether you are in NA playing on EU or EU playing on NA, vice versa, or just about any region playing on any server, make sure that you are selecting the server that you are actively playing on. That way your marketplace rates, your grind trackers, and all that stuff is going to be accurate for the market for the server that you're playing on. Now, let's go ahead and touch on a couple of small things here that you're going to see on the front page. You have your night and day timer up here. You have your daily reset. So this is going to reset for all of your daily quests or your Imperial trade-ins, whether it's Imperial cooking or Imperial alchemy, as well as a boss countdown timer for your select server. You can even keep this open and it will give you an auditory alert whenever the boss is about to spawn. The next thing we're going to be touching on in Garmmoth is going to be in the Gear Planner section. So you have all of these options here under Gear Planner, which is going to be obviously your Gear Planner, your Artifacts, your Consumable Planner, your Crystal Planner, and your Add-on Planner. So first we're going to come over here to Character Info. And for example, you can go ahead and just make this easier for you, name it whatever you want to. I just name it after my characters. I go ahead and I put my character levels in, and then I go ahead and select the character class. So I play a Succession Lawn. For these, you can just key in the levels. I'm just going to put 30 here across the board, just because that's usually what most people will end up being at. Now, the section you're going to see right here is your journals. I will cover these in the next site that we're going to be going over, but if you do have these completed, you'll just hit Enable All. Then we're going to head over to Skill Passives. Go ahead and press your G key on your keyboard and go through your guild settings, just to go through their skill trees to see if they have all these active. You can enable all of these. And then these are going to be all of your passive stats. So for this, you'll just go off and click everything that you have active. So for most of you, I'm assuming that you guys won't have all of the skills unlocked, but if you do, you'll just go ahead over here and select Enable All. Then we're going to make our way over to the gear builder, and this is where we're going to actually go in detail and where you can do everything. So you can build your entire build right here, and it will show you all of your total stats, as well as your basic, your offensive, your defensive. It'll tell you here how much your build costs. Okay, as you can see, I've got my build made right here, and through the same tab, you can go through your consumables, your crystals, and your add-ons. So I'm going to go over here to crystals, and then I can go here and hit create new. So then it's going to pull you over to the crystal preset section. So the only ones that you may not be able to use are going to be this center one, as well as I think it's this one over here on the top left, or it may be the one in the top right, depending on if you have a Garmmoth heart or not for one of these, as well as if you have your outfit slotted with the Black Spirit Claw to be able to put crystals into certain outfits. So from here, you would be able to go ahead and create your crystal setup, and it's going to actually go ahead up here in the right side and tell you roughly how much it's going to cost you, as well as all of the stats that it's going to have for it, and you'll be able to save it, which will go ahead and add it into your stat tracker, which we can go ahead and use for things like PvE damage calculator or PvP hit rate calculator and things of this sort. You can do the same thing with your add-ons. So what I would personally recommend is going to your class's Discord server and finding the best, add-ons that they're currently using. People usually update that quite frequently. That way you're able to use the best add-ons that you have. You can also do the same thing with consumables here. That way you can put your whole elixir rotation or whatever you would be using for drafts, just so you can see how much difference in damage you're going to be doing comparative from using draft to using the elixirs. Elixirs are a little bit confusing. If you guys want to, I can go ahead and make a guide touching on all that. I don't really think there needs to be one with how many guides there are, but if you guys request it, I will go ahead and cover that. Okay, so the next section that we're going to be touching on is going to be grind tracker. Now, in the grind tracker section, we're only really going to focus on global grind and best grind spots. Now, before we get into these, I do want to mention that you should take these with a grain of salt. These numbers aren't 100% accurate. Some people do bump their numbers up a little bit, so it's not 100% guaranteed, as well as some people are just way more carried than other people, so it's going to skew numbers just a little bit. But what you can do is click on global grind, and what it's going to do is it's going to show you the highest earning areas across the board. Now you can come over here and you can add all of your drop rate buffs. You can add in your luck. If you have 7,000 family fame, you can add that. And then you can do your ecology. Now, if you don't know how to check your ecology, you should just be able to press H on your keyboard. And then in the bottom right, it should show your ecology, which is going to affect your drop rate. So from there, it's going to go ahead and change this depending on like how much ecology you have, your family fame, and things of that nature. But so for example, here it shows that Olin's Valley Decia 2 is making people about 1.6 billion silver per hour. And on average, people are getting about 7,788 trash per hour out of a total of 10,921 hours. Now, this is nice and all, and it shows you like a rough estimate of what to expect and where you're going to be getting a lot of your money from and things like that. But we're going to head over here to the best grind spots. Now, the reason why we're going to focus on the best grind spots is because the best grind spots section is actually going to allow you to tailor it to your AP and DP. Now, this is a little bit wonky because, you're not factoring in your AP and DP based off of your buffs and all that stuff. Usually we're just over here doing this with your sheet. So as we saw earlier with my gear that I put together, we're over here at 316, 411. So it's telling me here that Troll's Habitat is going to be my best silver per hour spot. It's going to give me 1.27 billion silver per hour. And I'm going to be getting 906 million of that silver worth through just the trash loot. And then I'll be getting another 210 from Crystallized Despairs, which Crystallized Despairs did just get buffed. So these are going to be much more useful. And I can see this price going up, which is actually going to make trolls even more profitable, hopefully. And then basically what else you can do here is you can also go over to monster AP caps. So monster AP caps you can use just to kind of gauge exactly where your AP is going to be and stuff like that. But you do have to have the gear planner all set up. You do have to have a build set up. That way it has something to run off of. Otherwise, it's just not going to actually read out anything for you. Now, the last thing that we're going to go ahead and touch on Garmmoth.com is going to be the enhancing section, and we're going to touch a little bit on the central market. So the main thing that we're going to focus here is going to be your Caphras calculator, your cron cost, and your APDP brackets. You can kind of completely ignore the cron cost if you would like to, because you can see that in game. But for example, the Caphras calculator is going to make it a little bit easier for you. So let's say that you have your let's go ahead and use a pen boss offhand. So like, for example, let's say you're trying to get your Kudum to Caphras level 15 and you don't know how much Caphras it's going to cost you from Caphras level 0. So it's going to tell you here that you're going to need 17,655 Caphra, which is going to cost you 34.6 billion silver, given if you have no Caphras and you have no ancient spirit dust. But the cool thing is most spots that you're going to end up grinding are going to be dropping a fair amount of ancient spirit dust, as well as you have the dailies that you can do at certain grind locations that give you a good amount of Caphras, as well as a good amount of spirit dust. With all the progress that they've made in improving the new player experience by giving you guys pen black stars, Tet Black Stars and things like that, you guys should have no problem getting your gear to where you can say go ahead and grind Gyfin Underground, which is a huge spot for Kafras. That way you'll be able to boost your gear a lot more than what it's at. And Kafras are going to be huge because you're going to need the Kafras to create a lot of the stones for enhancing an endgame, as well as just, boosting your gear to where you can actually start going into like your Labrescas or your Fallen God or your Dons or your Aiders and things like that. Now, for the central market, all you're really going to focus on in the central market, if you have a paid account, you can see a little bit more, if I remember correctly. But without that, you can just kind of go through and let's say you want to see what items are going to be selling soon. So, for example, this Tet Debo ring goes live in 6 minutes. So you'll be able to buy this in 6 minutes once it hits the market, if there's obviously none on there. But this one's going to be going into the 41-2 slot. So you could go ahead and pick this up. And as you can see, it's showing you the stock of it. It's also showing you the prices and how many of them are sold daily. Now, the cool thing is you can do this for just about every single item that we have. But I think you have to have the paid version of Garmmoth in order to see the outfits and the Pearl Shop items. So you would probably have to go ahead and subscribe to that. See right here, Pearl items, market alerts. You do have to have that set up. You might have to just log in. I'm not entirely certain. I don't have myself logged in for now, but that's going to be everything for Garmmoth. And we're going to go ahead and switch over to the next site. So the next site that we're going to be using is Grumpy Green. Now, in my opinion, Grumpy Green is one of, if not the best resource that we have as BDO players, just coming from a pure guide perspective because of the vast amount of guides that they have. I'm not going to cover everything that they have today, but I'll be using the Igor Bartali Adventure Log guide just to kind of touch over and show you guys everything that they do on Grumpy Green. So, for example, they are going to show you how to access your adventure logs and everything that you will need to do, as well as the adventure log rewards. So it's going to go through and show you everything that you get for completing each book. And then if you've completed all the books together, you will end up with 4 AP, 2 DP, 90 health points, 65 stamina, 28 weight limit, 9 accuracy, 8 evasion, 4 inventory, and 2 100 plus fail stacks. But it also goes through and shows you everything that you have to do and notes that you can do to get them. So like, for example, it says here, hunt freshwater crocodile with a matchlock and butcher it for crocodile meat. It'll tell you right here that you can find the freshwater crocodile in Lake Kaya. Or right here, give a tanning knife to Like Bear. If you don't already have one, you just purchase a magical tanning knife at the marketplace. You can craft one, and then you just give the magic tanning knife to Like Bear and the Bear Commander, which is also located in Bear. Obtain knowledge about the Trent carpentry tool from Harden in the Calpheon territory. It tells you his exact title that you will see, and it will tell you exactly where he is. Visit Harden, trade manager located in the northern part of Calpheon City to obtain knowledge about the Trent carpentry tool. Or you can come down here to, like, let's say, pull out the fangs of Rudum monsters. You just have to go over and kill 30 Rudums. Now, this isn't the Elvia Rudums or anything like that, so all you have to do is just go over and kill regular Rudums. Or try the tear-soaked Balanos meat. So you just eat a Balanos meal, which you can get from the marketplace, or you can cook yourself if you have a high enough cooking level and all the ingredients. So that's basically everything that we're going to cover with Grumpy Green. So let's move over to the next and final site. Now, before we get to the last site, I did just want to say thank you. Thank you so much to Fame for everything that you did with Something Lovely. I have used Something Lovely for the last 7 years of playing BDO, and it was honestly huge. From learning where all the gathering resources were, or learning what nodes gave me what material and things like that. As a new player, it was huge in helping teach me this portion of the game. It's sad to see that you are no longer in a position to, keep everything going, but thank you for, all of your effort over the years, and I hope life treats you well. Take it easy. So the last site that we're going to be touching on today is going to be BDolytics. Now, while I say it's the last site we're going to be touching on, that does not mean that there aren't other sites that are also useful. The sites that I will mention that I didn't put on in this video would be like BDO Codex or BDO Foundry. You can check these sites out if you would like. I will also leave a link to them in the description below. But there are also probably many other sites out there that I personally have just never used, or I don't have friends that use. Like, for example, I don't do much life skilling anymore because I just don't have the time. So I don't use Bdolytics as often. But I do have a lot of friends that did recommend Bdolytics for this video, so that's why we're going on and covering it here. Now, I'm going to touch on the map section first, because as you saw in the previous clip, Something Lovely is not going to be able to continue with the update of the map. As you can see here, this map spans for the entire world within Black Desert Online, going from your fishing locations, your porter locations in the desert, your certain specific mob spawns and things like that, to your nodes and everything that you can get from that. Also, apologies if you can hear that plane flying over me. I've been trying to record this for like 2 hours and they just keep flying over, so we're just going to keep going. So for example, down here, I have it set on the gathering section to look for marmot blood. So right here, it's going to show you all the locations where the marmots spawn. That way you can go ahead and get yourself some easy blood from group 3. Or let's say that I wanted to look up meat, and then I came down here to, let's say weasel meat. It will end up searching for all the locations where weasel meat would spawn at. Or let's say that I wanted to go for other meat and then I wanted snake meat. It's going to give me all the places where I'm going to find snake meat. So let me go ahead and tick off weasel meat and let me take off marmot blood. So it's just going to show me all the locations here where I can find snakes in order for me to get snake meat for certain meals or things like that. So the next thing we're going to touch on is going to be the database tab. Now, the cool thing about the database tab is there is a lot of stuff here that you can actually check out to get answers for certain things. For example, we're looking at the gatherables tab here. This way you can see everything that drops that's within the loot pool of certain items. So let's say that you wanted to look for like wolf. So it's going to show you that within the wolf tabs that you're going to get these certain items, or like the wild herbs, all of the wild herbs. It'll show you everything that it's going to drop. Or let's see here. We'll go to the white cedar tree. It's going to show you everything that the white cedar tree drops. You can head over to rocks and it will show you all the resources that you can get from the rocks. But you can also come over here to NPCs and select like all NPCs or select friendly NPCs. If you're looking for certain NPCs, like for example, let's say Zaya, you can click on Zaya and then hit either continue regardless or enable hardware acceleration, whichever one you would like to do. And it will show you right here that Zaya is going to be in this general area within Grana. Or you can come over and let's look for, we'll use Zenith as an example here. So we'll hit continue and it's going to go ahead and move the map over to where Zenith is. And it's going to be Dellinghart Island on the smaller side of the island across from the node. It will go ahead and tell you right here that you can get the node registration Dellinghart Island from Zenith, or you can also get knowledge of the Dellinghart Island or things like that that you get just from speaking with Zenith. Now, another thing that you can do within the database tab is look for certain things. Like let's say you want access to stuff for quests. So let's say you want to check out your Black Spirit quests. So let's go to World of Enemies number 6, Hex Sanctuary Skeletons. So it'll say that you have to have this quest completed because like the only way that you'll be able to access this quest is if you have World of Enemies number 5 Treants completed. And then it will roughly tell you what you need to do. You need Blackstones to enhance your equipment. Go to the Southeast Calpheon and defeat the skeletons. This is a level 50 monster zone guide quest, and there are 11 quests in total. Once you get the Blackstone quests and stuff like that, you have to accept it from the Black Spirit and complete it from the Black Spirit, and it will tell you how to go through and do this. Other ones, it will tell you everything that you need to get. So like you can quickly come over here and click the quest chain tab, and it will show you all the quests that are in here, and then quests opening by completing these quests. So if you complete this quest, these are all the quests that will be opened up for you to be able to do. Now, obviously, it's not all of these. Some of these are just duplicate quests, I think, I'm pretty certain. because they all look roughly the same and all say the same. So some of these are duplicates, but the next thing that we're going to be touching on is going to be the life skill tab. Now, the really cool thing about the life skill tab is they have everything put in the most optimal way. So cooking calculator, it's going to tell you roughly how much silver per hour you'll be making for these things, how much experience they give. Now, this is what I would be focusing on in general, is going to be the experience that they give, because that's going to be what's most important. A lot of the cooking stuff doesn't really make profit from just like base cooking it. The cooking per hour here, like, so for example, the stuff that you're seeing here, this is going to be predominantly from like your byproducts. If you were to be, getting all of them yourself, and then you could sell some on the market, but most people use their stuff for Imperial delivery. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, or if it helped you out in any way, it would mean a lot to me if you guys would drop a like. And if you guys have any questions on stuff that I covered, or maybe you've got something else in the game that's kind of confusing you and you would like me to make a guide on it, just let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys so much for all the support, and I hope you have a great day.